他的分享分成2个部分。第一个部分 ，Stefan 会介绍他在欧洲生态村游历的时候所看到的人事物，就是关于欧洲生态村的介绍。那第2个部分 ，Stefan 会分享他现在在台东，他自己现在正在尝试建造一个属于他自己的台湾生态村。那所以这个今天的分享会分成2个部分。那这2个部分结束之后，大概会有45分钟的时间 ，Stefan 会开放Q&A 的时间，让大家提出您想要问的问题。那什么问题都可以问，用中文或英文都可以。那现在我们就不浪费时间，我们请 Stefan 先跟大家来上台，跟大家分享他今天带来的内容。
谢谢。大家好。
好。
那我现在说英文。我的中文比我的英文不好，所以我说英文。Yes. So I'm curious about you. Can you raise the hand who has seen the film Transgender Woman and UV? Please, can you raise the hand? Wow, so many of you have not seen it actually. So I have the film here, back there. If you can get it. Of course, I recommend it. Of course. It's a film about eco-villages and eco-communities in Europe. In Chinese, it's called 生态村. Yes, and I would like to show you also some pictures. I hope this is ready soon.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay. So I would maybe what I'm also interested is why are you here today? Can some have the courage? Can some have the courage to raise the hand and tell me and ask why are you here today? Why are you here? What do you expect? A wood. A forest. This is. And you are. So you have a land and you want to do something with this land. How big is the land?
Acres. 8 acres.
Acres.
Yeah,
acres. Wow. Done. Okay. Anybody else who can share why he's here? Yeah, but you're here because you're interested in this. Good.
Well, I'm just curious how you got started. For example, dealing with regulations, zoning laws, and things like that.
So you basically are here because you're interested in eco-villages and sustainable lifestyles. We're going to speak today about sustainability. And why is it important? Because if we don't achieve sustainability, life cannot continue on Earth as it is. Only when we achieve as a society that we live, a sustainable lifestyle, can the world continue, or can we continue to exist? Otherwise, humankind would destroy itself. So we want to, I think, continue to exist. And it should not be only fear-based, but also it's a chance to live a better life, a more beautiful life, a more harmonious life, closer to nature. So, around 3-4 years ago, I made this film, Transgender Woman. And it shows 10 eco-villages in Europe. And these projects, they are a good example which show that when people really want to make a difference, they can. They can change their life. One can change his own life, that it is in alignment with one's own values. Well, here it's written, the goal of eco-villages is to become more socially, economically and ecologically sustainable. This is the cover of the film Transgender Woman. And what people often ask me is, why? Why did you want to make this film? What was your intention? And my intention was simply, it has several reasons, but one of the reasons was just that I myself visited different eco-projects all over the world, got very inspired, and I realized that actually little people know about it. Like, I shared with my friends, with family members, and they didn't really understand what I'm talking about. They didn't know something like this can exist. Living so beautiful, living in natural buildings, living a rich, healthy, close to nature lifestyle. And so I got a strong impulse. Well, I got the impulse to watch such a film, which gives an overview of existing eco-villages in Europe, and I googled, but there was nothing like this. There was one film which shows some American communities, but I didn't like this film so much. And anyway, I got the inspiration that I want to create a film while visiting eco-village projects, a variety of them, and then create a film that I can show it to more people, so that people all over the world can see, okay, wow, there are actually living examples, people who, despite this current social structure we're living in, they create the life they want, which is in alignment with their values and contributes to a more just and harmonious society. And people ask me, how did you find these communities? And it's very simple. One thing is that when you just start to visit one of these projects, you meet many people who know about other projects, so you hear about it. And another thing is that there exist these books, Eurotopia it's called, and it's basically a directory of communities, intentional communities, eco-villages, which lists, this one alone, like 400 ecovillages and intentional communities in Europe. And so it describes the communities, there's the telephone number, then the email. So you can actually, when you like a certain type of eco-village, you can get in contact with them and arrange a visit. So that's how I found about them, and yes, and kept going. Okay. What was important for me was what I realized right away when I, on my journey to these different projects, and also while reading this book, this Eurotopia, this community directory, I realized, wow, it's so many different approaches. Very, very different. There's not communities, community, eco-villages, eco-village. No. It's like, it's so individual. You know? Some are more focused on the spiritual aspect. Maybe they might join because they have, for example, a common spiritual idea. For example, one eco-community is in France, La Borie Noble, and they strive to live. They are inspired by the ideas of Mahatma Gandhi and strive to live towards these ideals. They try to live a simple life close to the land and grow their own food. And others are more focused very strongly on the eco aspect. For example, the eco-village Siebenlinden in Germany, which has 120 residents. There the focus is very strong on ecological living. And of course spirituality plays a role, but it seems like the main point for people there is they're very inspired by ecological living. However, it's also that they organize themselves in neighborhoods, so you find all kinds of people there. You find also more spiritual neighborhoods, and then you find those who are more ecologically focused and those who are more politically engaged. Just a variety also within this eco-village. Well, and then you find, like, basically they intentionally also, it happened intentionally, it happened just by life itself, but also to some extent intentionally, that I chose a great variety. So, and some projects in this film are quite like almost the opposite. No? Like, for example, there's one community which is a very religious community, Krishna Valley, but they are very focused on the religion, spirituality, and they live kind of like monks, and it's like forming an eco-village. The focus is, yes, on eco-living, but it's very religious, and with a lot of rules, no? Getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and start to meditate and so on, right? But on the other hand, then you have also in the film Mata Venero, which is a mountain village, which was an abandoned village and has been resettled and rebuilt. And basically it's like an anarchistic village, it's like the opposite. It's like people are so free there, they don't really make rules in that sense. It's kind of the opposite extreme. Now also, when I'm speaking now about some differences, but also there are things what they have in common, and let's look at this. And you see here Finca Tierra. They are at the Canary Islands, and their focus is on health and enjoying life. And there's more like just three persons. They want to become 6-7 people, and yeah, their motto is just make life beautiful. There's Samera, which is a peace eco-village in Portugal, and the intention is to become a holistic model for a sustainable and peaceful life. Damanhu is the biggest project, presented with 1,000 people. It's an eco-society. It's many communities of the size of 30 to 50 people, and they are united to have common cooperation. Bei the Sensaciones, the focus is more on being creative and living a creative life close to nature. La Noble, I mentioned in France the Gandhi community, where it's about simple life and non-violent life, as Mahatma Gandhi spoke about. The Krishna Valley I mentioned, which is the focus is strongly on the religion and also on sustainability. Schloss Gladisek is a project which is like an eco seminar hotel. So they are a hotel. They want to, and they allow people, for one thing, to stay in a nice ecological environment, and on the other hand, to allow teachers who teach about spiritual and sustainable topics to come and stay. Schloss Tondorf, yeah, the intention is sustainability and freedom, and they like them a lot. Also, they have many children. Mata Venero, which I mentioned, is anarchistic. Do you understand anarchy? Anarchy. It's like no rules. Siebenlinden, the eco-village, what I mentioned, it's in Germany with the focus on sustainability, eco-living. Yes, and basically, as I said, they're very different, but they also have something in common, these projects. And what they have in common is that they share that the current mainstream way of life is not sustainable, destroys the environment. So we have to change something. So they try to find an alternative, more harmonious lifestyle, and also promote it in one way or the other. They also have in common that they share that organic and local is possible, organic food and local food. And self-responsibility is also recognized that people are willing to be more self-responsible for their energy, for their food, for their conflicts, for their health, to take self-responsibility and not just depend on others, depend on the outside, depend on the government, depend on this and that. No, but see, okay, how can I take responsibility in this area of my life? And very important, they have the willingness for practical action. This is a key point. And I think this is the key. I mean, practice makes master. One can study the whole time in theory, okay, what would go good and so on. But without the practice, it doesn't go deep. It's like when one wants to become a master in martial art, and he just studies and reads. After 20 years, 30 years, he wouldn't be a master. When he really practices, when he practices martial art, for example, Aikido or Kung Fu or whatever, he becomes a master in time through the consistent practice. Yeah. And they have in common that they all find it important to have a garden, to grow food. So they often grow a high percentage of their food that they consume, and they use not conventional ways, but they use organic growing methods, and very often they are approaching much more natural ways of growing, and more it's also coming that people use permaculture methods or try to imitate natural forest systems and create food forests and such. What Alice asked me to share with you is about a movement in Russia, which is very interesting and inspiring. I think we need to move forward now. Skip this. Yes. We just skipped now something which I have sometimes in a presentation where I speak about the self-sufficiency of Taiwan, but I heard that today it might be not so important to speak about it because you might all know about this. But what you probably don't know about is what's going on in Russia. Yun'an, my friend, was in Russia, by the way. But maybe, I don't know if you want to share later, but I can just share what I know. Yeah, so what happened in Russia? Basically when the Soviet Union broke in 1989, it was really troublesome. They had lack of food, people were starving to death. So what the government started to give away plots of land to the people. So every family was given a so-called dacha, which is just a small garden plot of 600 square meters. And the people, they took it. They were very happy. These were plots which were very poor land. This land was overexploited, not nutritious, very poor land. But they took it and they started to cultivate it and to grow food on it. Today, 35 million families in Russia have a garden, which is 66% of all households. This is huge. And they produce more than 50% of the total agricultural output in Russia. And the share of food gardening in the national agriculture has increased from 32% in 1992 to over 50% by 2000, the year 2000. Here you see a typical dacha plot. What you see here is that it's not a monoculture plot, but it's a variety of plants. Because it's very small, and people are using biodiversity. Which in itself is much more natural than monoculture. Monoculture depletes the soil in time. And yeah, the mixed plantings of vegetable, shrubs and trees. Another picture of a dacha. And people, it's like people during the summertime, that like most of the people who live in the city during the summertime, they spend their time, at least on the weekend, on the dacha plot and grow their food. And it's not because they need to, it's because they want to. Because it's something much deeper to actually grow your own food. It gives you a connection to nature, a connection to something which sustains you, and it's on many levels it's beneficial. Here you see the contribution to the GDP in Russia, the food gardening, which is higher even than the steel industry or electric power industry. Some more pictures of some small dachas. So these small family food gardens produce more than 90% of all potatoes and more than 80% of all fruits, vegetables and berries, which is a lot. This, at the same time, where the land use, like they only use 2.9% of the Russian agricultural land, but they produce 53% of the outcome. And the big agro-businesses with their monoculture fields, hectares and hectares, they use 97.1% of all agricultural land, but produce only 47%. But they produce much, like in regards to the land, in relationship to this, they produce less, even though they use much more land. It's because of the monoculture, which actually gives little output. Whereas the dacha plots, they have a variety of crops. And it doesn't deplete the soil like a monoculture does. Something interesting happened in Russia, which goes together with this dacha story. This is Vladimir Maigret, and he's an entrepreneur, and in something like, I think in 1990 or so, he got to know a woman which is called Anastasia. She lives in the taiga in the forest. He got very inspired by her and wrote down what she's thinking about the world. She's living as a recluse and very harmonious with nature. Wild animals are like her pets, help her. The squirrels bring her cedar nuts she doesn't need to provide food for herself. Basically, the animals are trained in a way that the animals bring food to her. She lives very, very close to nature. She is basically, she lives there. Her grandparents are there. And they live there since this line. It's like an ancient civilization. They live there basically away from the world since, almost like hundreds or at least thousands of years. And so basically what happened is that he started to write books. And these are the books in Russian, and he was no writer. Never learned how to write. Anastasia actually wanted to write him also what she's saying, and he did it. Even so, he promised her, okay, he will write down also. And the books became a national bestseller. They sold more than 11 books until now, and there were 11 million books. And they have been translated into many languages. Here you see the English version of the book. And these books, what is so special about them is that they aroused feelings in people, which not only gave people good feelings, but these ideas in there are so powerful that people were so inspired to take practical actions to change their life all over to the better. It's books which not you read it and then okay, for a few days maybe it changes you and you forget about it. No, these books, many people experience this. I myself touch something so deep in oneself that it can change one's whole outlook on the world, and which leads naturally to the impulse for practical action. The good news is these books also now are translated by Yun'an and my spouse and friend into Chinese. So they will be published also here in Taiwan. Yes, I'm very, very much looking forward to this. Do you want to say something about this or? Okay. You will hear about it. The time will come. They're currently translating book one. And they've just finished the agreement with the publisher. They signed everything. Yeah, it's going good. Yes, millions of people's hearts are touched. In Russia, but beyond Russia, in America and in Germany. And basically, what happens is people start to create eco-settlement, eco-villages. They start to create paradise, oasis for themselves and their family. So, what the main idea of the book, or of the books, is that every family should live in his own paradise garden, which she says, which should be for Russian families. That she speaks about Russia, and it should be around 1 hectare in size. So this is like just a model of how it could be, that you have, like how you could organize it. But basically, everyone, call it family domain will be individual and different, and depending on one's own consciousness, one creates it in certain ways. an expression of one's own consciousness and insight. Let's look at one eco-village which got inspired also by these books. It's eco-village Kovchek in Russia, and as you see, it's, you can read the facts for yourself. Yeah, every family has its own piece of land to create their family domain. And in these plots, tens of thousands of trees and bushes have already been planted, which provide food and shelter, shadow, just to provide a good living condition. Every plot has many fruit trees and an organic vegetable garden. And it's of course a perfect, maybe not perfect, this is such a thing, but it's a very good environment to grow up children. Very healthy. Yes, they build their houses, they try to build it with natural materials like wood or earth. The children are also actively participating. Yeah, of course, children are happy to have other children around and are free. Wood workshop. They also have a community house. They have also a little school. Here you see how they build a adobe house. They do natural beekeeping, which is no sugar, no bee drugs, minimal intervention. And they use an old bee variety. As you see these bees, they're no problem to the children. The children are very curious. It's totally fine. It depends on what do you radiate out. If you radiate out stress and fear, the bees will react accordingly. If you radiate out the innocence of peace, the joy, just tranquility, it's fine. Bees, they react. Children are very pure in this regard. Yeah, mothers. Some pictures of my friend Anne. When she was there last year and visited also an eco settlement inspired by the Anastasia books. And you see beauty. Beauty is an important aspect. It shall look beautiful, inspiring. It's a beehive. Okay. So many people think they can only live a better life when they join an eco-village or an eco-settlement. Well, this could be, but often it's not the time yet, or it's also not for you. So it's not important to live in an eco-village. not important. You can also live in the city, but you can make a difference. You can start with yourself. It depends. It starts with the individual. Sustainable life of the individual creates a sustainable family, community. This can create a sustainable society and nation. And finally, a sustainable world. But we need to start with ourselves, and everything comes back. Everything. The thing is that we lost the greater part of humankind, lost the connection to nature, while still depending on nature through food, water, energy, and so on. We all depend on nature, Mother Nature. But we lost the connection. And we don't know where does our food come from, where does our water come from, what does it go through, where does our waste go, where does this come from. And this connectedness creates a tragedy in our life and in the world. But when we start now to reconnect more to nature and really to start to look where does our food come from, where does this and this come from, and look closer, connect to Mother Nature, to see how good it is. Then you become more happy. You become more happy, peaceful, healthier. Your life gets more meaningful. You get a lot of power from this inspiration. So, me and my spouse, we said, okay, let's start with ourselves. Let's try step by step to bring our values of spiritual, sustainable, happy, healthy life into this reality. And so we purchased, what we did is we purchased a land in Taitung. Purchased the land together with friends. And we bought together 2 hectares, then we divided. So me and my spouse have our hectare, and our friends have the hectare. We have similar ideas. We have both the value. We have the value of living a natural, harmonious lifestyle. It's not that we live as a community. It's like we can have the community aspect voluntarily. We're not forced to. We have our own land. Every one of us is our own land. Before I continue to show you some pictures and impressions of our life in Taitung, are there questions? Please, you can ask some questions if until now anything is unclear. It's special because Russia is an industrialized nation. A nation which has grown significantly in material wealth, in modern standards. And compared to other nations who have achieved a more industrialized capitalistic way of being. They produce so much food by their families. The families living there produce so much food. And this is a very special phenomenon because in most modernized countries there exists very little people who have their own small land and grow food. It's becoming more and more, but in Russia that 66% of all households have their own garden. This is a lot. This would be like in Taiwan, 23 million people and more than half, let's say maybe 14 million people would have their own garden and sustain themselves to a high degree with food. This is special. Any other questions? Sorry, it was a bit too long. No? Yes?
There are many residents or many successful eco-villages around the world, right? I'm just curious, because they still need to purchase something from outside the world, how can they try to purchase those stuff?
How?
Where can they get those income?
Well, this income comes from different means. Some eco-villages, they also have their own businesses, of course. They might sell some of the food or products, or they have also people who are just working in normal society, like also, for example, doctors who work still in hospital nearby but lives in the eco-village, or some people work on the internet and might have an online shop selling some eco products or whatever. They give seminars and workshops and so many ways, a lot of ways. It doesn't mean to live totally separated from society. This is not the point. But the point is to become more self-reliant. And of course, in as much areas as possible, but just step by step.
I saw your movie, and the village that I was most impressed with was Damhur, because it was 1,000 people, and the other villages were much smaller, right? And Damhur was 1,000 people, and they were big enough to have their own monetary system. And I think one of the biggest, if not the biggest problem of our world is the monetary system and corruption. I wonder if you can speak about how Damhur's monetary system, if there was any problems, or if it was successful, if it's backed by gold or something like that. If you can tell me more about that.
Hello. Okay, loud enough? Yeah. So what I know is that the currency is called creditor, and they change it with the euro 1-to-1. You can change it to creditor, you can change creditor to euro. However, I didn't go into much detail because the only advantage this brings, well, is that when you use creditor, which is a good advantage, is that the money stays in the region and supports the region. However, they're still forced to pay tax also on the creditor. So it's not independent from the euro. However, there exist also regional money currencies in Europe, especially in Germany, who are actually their own regional money who is independent from the euro. And I don't think there's English information, I'm not sure. If so, I can send you more information if you're interested. And of course, the advantage of regional money is the region gets supported, the money stays locally, and local business gets supported. It's good, and especially also in Thailand, the euro might lose more and more value, but these currencies can remain in value. Okay.
I think because most of us have not seen the film, can you show some of that?
Okay, yes, do we have time? I think so. Huh? After 9. Okay. Good. Then I would say, okay, we do like this. I quickly land, okay, what we're doing, and then we're checking out the film a bit, yeah? Okay, here you see our land. Basically, our land is the area where you can see here until here. This area, we have 1 hectare. We lived at the beginning in a tent, it was sometimes tough. We actually our idea was to really live in the tent until we build our natural building. We wanted to build a perfectly natural building. However, our plan changed a bit. It was just I had electricity in the tent with solar panels and so on. It was not bad. Living in a tent, had everything. We used our computer, the internet, everything there. But when you need to, in the middle of the night when it rains and you need to go out with the umbrella and go to the toilet outside, it's not so comfortable. You can imagine. And well, so basically, we can go. We decided later to build a very small house, a prefab house of 20 square meters, so that we can live comfortable, have a comfortable base, and from there, now we do all what we're doing, and we build also our natural house and so on. You will see this later. Just we experimented with a bamboo roof, and this is a storage room we created with using stones and mud. This is we built ourselves from above the bamboo roof. Okay. Yes. We right now still cook like this. We have a lot of our own wood, dry wood, and yeah, this we used to cook. We only cook once a day, and it's very simple. Here you see, like the whole summer, it's very comfortable because there's always wind. It's like a kind of a tunnel. Here's the forest, and here's sound. Here is this big rock, and I created this roof, and it's very comfortable there. Like, it doesn't matter how hot it was. There it was always comfortable. So felt never uncomfortable. Totally natural ventilation. And just, yeah, we thought of all of this at the beginning. It's important to think things through when you do something. To think where will the sun be in summer, in winter, and where does the wind come from? And just observe, and then you can create really something like a design which suits you, where you make use of the natural forces. Interesting, yeah. We built this handle, and this is waste oil, from the restaurants that they fry things, and yeah, we did this experiment to make our own candle with this very environmental friendly candle. At the bottom, just sand, and here oil, and just use the same stick which you put in. And cover with a bit of cotton, and you can have your own candle for free. And because we actually, I want to use these handles now, self-made candles to cook. It will be actually a very nice cooking solution, so we are actually independent of gas. And we'll see. This is our house. Very small inside with a tire and provide this one solar panel, very small, provides totally enough electricity for us because I designed it in a smart, efficient way. Now we have used only basically 12 volt, used 12 volt in our house. Also can use the normal 110 volt also. We used old tires, hit them with stones, and just fixed it like this. Here, this is our solar grids, and just the solar controller and the battery, and yeah, basically we provide us with what we need. We use two computers and three lights. We use a pump, a water pump. We use also it's hot, so we use a ventilator. But we just use everything we need. This is an aspect. One thing is we decided to have a humus toilet, which is not a water toilet. So we don't rely on a sewage system. No? We don't have a water channel which brings it somewhere. We don't have this problem with the sewage tank, but somebody needs to come every few months or every year to pump it out and bring it somewhere and have just pollution, unfortunately. But we do it in a way that we are composting. We're giving it back to nature. We use for this. It's very simple. It's like there are very luxury systems, yeah? But I didn't see them in Taiwan. But you can buy them in Europe and you can buy them in the USA. But we want to teach something very simple, what I can do myself. We can do ourselves. And so these filters, so I just used the box and basically, yeah, we just the urine is separated, and the feces are covered with sawdust, and it's just a bucket inside, and I empty this every 2 days or so, every 2 or 3 days. I empty it, put it to the compost pile and clean it, and the urine goes out, and goes in here, and it's diluted with water because we flush with water. And this we give to our plants, and they love it. It's the plant growth is so much significantly better bigger those who receive the urine. It's a very good natural fertilizer, so we make use of this. Yeah, here's the compost pile, and for our toilet, and also we also food peels, so we also put there. And this will become perfect humus in several months, and after 1 to 2 years you can use this, you can give this to trees. It's humus, it's enriching the soil, it's giving back nutrients to the land. Right now, like how it is with the water flushing toilet, it actually, the available fertilizer humans would give is flushed down the toilet and is creating, it has to be treated, chemically treated, and is creating pollution and is going into the ocean or rivers. Often it just goes untreated into the rivers and ocean, the bigger part actually. So it creates wanting pollution. A lot of energy is needed, and the nutrients are taken away from the land because everybody eats, but instead of giving the nutrients back to the land, it's flushed in the toilet and goes away. It doesn't go back to the land. So this natural cycle that the nutrients go back to the land again, this is broken. It goes away, it goes flushed away to the ocean and whatever. And therefore, of course, this is only possible because chemical fertilizers, people use huge amounts of chemical fertilizers. Of course, this is again a problem because they pollute the groundwater. Also in time, they deplete the soil of many important nutrients. So the food quality gets lower and lower, less and less. Okay, so this is, so we had many reasons to have something like this, and it makes us independent. So it's many benefits. We give back to nature. We can enrich our land with valuable humus in time, and yeah, we are independent. We take self-responsibility. Also, we take self-responsibility for our water. We collect the rainwater. Here, this is how I did it is that the water comes down, and the first flush, which is more dirty, maybe with leaves or or maybe insects, goes here, goes down here, and then switch, and the clean water goes into the Schrader where it's also filtered. I just made a very simple thing with the water, and just a mosquito net and some towel. Here's the mosquito net first in this bucket, Schrader, and then it goes in. Okay, and yeah. Yeah, we just for the foundation, we just use tires, fill them up with stones. Here we only use stones. And we use, just underneath here is a pump. a 12-volt pump. So you can come to shower using. I built this bed. Just we bought the wood, untreated wood, and just build it. And it's also inspiring to build something like this, because you cannot really buy a natural bed here. At least we didn't find it. Usually they're all chemically treated. That's a good feeling to feel a natural bed. Yeah, our entrance gate of our property, which is here, we use floating wood, we use bamboo also. So we make use of the resources that are here. This is a very, very simple solar cooker. It's just an old quartz, and this aluminium foliage, and we just cover this back seat press. And it gets, yeah, we can cook with this when there's sun. It's very simple. Yeah. We like to just reuse second-hand things and make something nice, but we often go to the recycling station and take some things we like with us. Well, then this, for example, also built myself quickly like a shui. Yeah, we plant many things. Our focus is, it's very important, we focus on perennials rather than annuals. This means on plants which give for many years food. Not which you need to plant every season again, no, but you can harvest for a long time, for years. So we focus on shrubs and trees and so on. Well, a nice benefit of living on the land is you find a lot of wild food. For example, moor. You find a lot just old wood and it grows there. You just harvest it. Or like we eat every day wild vegetables. There's no work at all. They just grow. You don't need the water. They don't need the care, but they don't need the soil. This works in this shanguo chu. Very delicious. It's mountain lettuce. Or long quay, or cao bei, cao, right? Outside. And just 3 kinds, but we have many kinds of grow there, and every day we harvest and enjoy these greens without any work, and they are better than organic. They grow wild. They grow wild and they have so much nutrients. They taste really rich. Yeah, we love them. And this is our own pumpkin. Yeah, we also grow some pumpkins. Yeah, our pumpkins and mugwa, which we grow. We keep the seeds. This is our pumpkin seeds. Why do we keep the seeds? Because the specific kind of plant will adjust to exactly this climate, to this soil, to this area. Also to stay self-reliant and free. As you know, maybe Monsanto and other bigger companies, they try to have the monopoly about seeds. And everybody needs to buy the seeds from them. Yeah? Hybrid seeds, you have one. It's quite dangerous that you plant the seed and you become seeds which don't grow anymore. You do nothing. You have to buy again from them. So you become dependent. In India, it happened. The farmers, they became totally dependent on Monsanto. The prices for the seeds went up. The farmers couldn't afford it anymore. Thousands of farmers had committed suicide, killed themselves. They didn't have any chance anymore. So it's important to have the seed sovereignty and not depend on some big companies, but take self-responsibility as much as we can. And it's so amazing. This is a moment. 最大的芭蕉, the biggest banana plant. And it's so nice that how they create babies. It's like, you know, you plant, but it reaches a point that you don't have work anymore. You will just give fruits. And it becomes a forest, a banana forest. And bananas are anyway a very good thing to grow because they require little work but high output. Well, this we got many fruits as a gift. Some of the fruits are from ourselves here, like the lolly, avocado, and the walnut, me. In our land there were already some fruit trees. We got many gifts, so we planted some on board. So our diet is also more a fruit-based diet, and so this will make it very easy for us to become self-sufficient very quickly, to a high degree. This, for example, we ate this for 3 weeks, and had several days where we only ate like fruits, and so this is also the thing, the kind of diet one has also defines how much effort we have to put into realizing higher self-sufficiency. And Jiangchun, this is also a good example of a very wonderful perennial which you plant and becomes a big tree, and you can have, it's so delicious, the leaves are so delicious, you know, you can just harvest, and there is no work, and you have so many nice, delicious leaves, you know, it's wonderful. Shanchao, Michao, Bachao. As you know, normally in the mountain people mow with a trimmer. I personally don't like it because it's noisy and stinky and limits my freedom because you need to wear so much protection. But I use this tool, which is a more ancient cutting tool from Europe. It's called the size. And it looks like this. It works very well for cutting. You can actually, it's a skill, you need to learn it. But when you learn it, you can be quicker than someone with a trimmer. There are even contests in England, trimmer versus the size, and the size wins very often. It can be very efficient, but it's an art, you need to learn it. Our biggest tree, which provides soap and very nice. And spider, we have many animals, of course, all kind of insects and animals. Alright, this was one morning. Well, it's basically the impressions I wanted to give you. And now, it's not so important actually what you saw here, the things I do with the composting toilet, with the solar panel and so on. These are important in one aspect, but the true importance is why we're doing this. This comes from a deeper realization that the more we can achieve a harmonious lifestyle, a connected lifestyle to nature, then happier also we can become. more powerful we can become. And it's a service for oneself and whole humankind, whole life. It's basically a spiritual thing to do. It's something where one just wants to live more and more true, more and more natural. Let go of these conditionings. No? We have so many conditionings. We grow up in a society and people, our parents and society, they tell us what is good, what is bad, what to do and so on. But that doesn't need to be our truth. So, what I started is looking at what is really my truth. What is my truth? When a deeper truth, not just some truth which I think I want this or this, which might be just an artificial value which society gave you, or any other instance. But no, you are really your deeper truth. So, we can speak more later. We have now some time to maybe show one unit quickly. Which one do you like best? Yeah? Are there any questions? Questions so far? Yes?
Do you like Chinese culture? Chinese culture?
Chinese culture?
Yes.
If I like it?
Yes.
Well, I am open to any culture which supports love in the sense of true connectedness, and tries to give good to people. And I will. However, what I started to do is that I create my own culture, free from any culture, free from any national culture or idea, but through this finding my own truth, realizing my own values, I can create my own culture. Well, culture is always an expression of consciousness also, no? Consciousness of society, collective consciousness, shared values. I think any culture can have something where we can learn from. But we have to be aware still that culture is also still an expression of the collective level of consciousness this given society. But basically I can say I neither like nor dislike any culture. For me, it's just important that what is the human doing? How is the human in this?
Related, how did you decide to stay in Taiwan or come to Taiwan or settle in Taiwan? Because obviously any place you choose will have its own problems, and like no snow here, Russia, a lot of snow probably. How did you decide?
Well, my wife, my spouse is from Taiwan. And so after traveling a lot the world, we realized that our own countries, for me it's the German-speaking area, for it's Taiwan, are actually just the most appropriate for the both of us to live our life and to fulfill our mission. Just keep going.
is a movement in the world, a movement of which most of the world is still unaware. There are people who are acting on the realization that it's time to create whole new models for living together, social models for creating and sustaining a high quality of life. Thousands of eco-villages and intentional ecological communities have been created worldwide, and their organizational structures are as diverse as the people who founded them. Join us now in a journey to 10 different eco-village communities in 8 European countries. The eco-village called Siebenlinden is located in the Altmark in the eastern part of Germany. It was 1997 when the first settlers came here, and today there are 120 residents. What connects them all is the wish for
to achieve sustainability. There are many ways, and many ways will find their place here. Some of the neighborhoods live in a way that most people would consider to be quite normal. Others have invented their own life concept in nutrition, social processes, and finances. Each neighborhood gets a part of the property after they're acknowledged, and then they can build houses there for up to 25 or 30 people.
Die kriegen dann einen Teil des Geländes, wenn sie anerkannt sind, und dort dürfen sie dann ihre Häuser bauen für etwa 25, 30 Leute.
Until some years ago, all decisions were made in consensus. Siebenlinden reached a size that demanded another model of decision-making.
Ja, vor 2 Jahren haben wir angefangen, ein neues Entscheidungsmodell für Siebenlinden zu entwickeln.
2 years ago, we started to create a new model for decision-making at Siebenlinden. It took us almost a year to bring it into the form that it is now. We have a council system to which we've turned over the larger part of the decision-making process so that we don't all have to discuss all the smaller things at each plenum meeting. It doesn't mean that people are excluded, because the councils often include many people from the community. But as in the case of developing the decision-making process, some topics take a lot of time. Because of the size and complexity of the community, it's not possible that everyone be involved in every decision. And it's a relief for me that I don't have to have an opinion about every plant in the garden. Our aim is to have more time to enjoy, to do beautiful things together, and not always to have to meet about organizational stuff. Just to have a beautiful time together.
Ziel von dem Ganzen war sozusagen mehr Zeit für schöne Dinge zusammen zu haben und nicht mehr sozusagen sich nur wegen Orga-Dingen zu treffen, sondern einfach eine schöne Zeit auch miteinander zu haben.
Siebenlinden has built the first multi-level straw bale house in Germany.
Das erste mehrstöckige oder Mehrfamilienhaus in Europa in Strohpalmenbauweise.
The first 3-story multi-family straw bale house in Europe houses 18 people, and it's here. In Siebenlinden, we made a decision to use the straw bale building method, and we've enhanced this building method, developed it quite a bit. There are different kinds of apartments in this multi-level straw bale house, single apartments, and shared flats. We showed many working guests how to build and work with straw and mud.
Baugästen da gezeigt, wie man mit Stroh und Lehm bauen kann und arbeiten kann.
Heiko has lived in the eco-village for 11 years. He works in Stephen Linden's organic shop and enjoys his contact with all the customers.
Also diese Begegnung untereinander.
I think the interactions we have with each other are very special in comparison to the way it usually is in the outer world. When I think about living in a rented house with neighbors, I think it's quite different than it is here. We know each other. We have forums. There's a lot of sharing of our life paths together, and this connects us. We have common aims, like environmental awareness, or smaller ideas, like we don't want mobile phones or cars in the village. These are some things that are important to me. Another thing is that I have a son who's growing up here, and it's just beautiful to watch. I love how he can move and be with the other children, growing up in an atmosphere that's very different from conventional circumstances.
Hier mit den anderen Kindern ist, die eben auch unter einem anderen Kontext aufwachsen als eben in der normalen Umstellung, sage ich mal.
Wir sind hier im Ökodorf, würde ich sagen. We're an experimental field in the eco-village. Of course there are problems, conflicts, all the other issues you usually have. We're not an island. We're living in the middle of society, but we have the chance here. And for me it's an absolute luxury to experiment again and again, to discover what ways there are to be together, and to watch how solutions are created.
Experimentieren, welche Wege gibt es und ja, mitzuerleben, wie es zu Lösungen kommt.
Ja, um Teil der Genossenschaft zu werden, muss man hier.
In order to become a part of the cooperative, you have to invest around 12,000 euros. We use this money to buy land and to build infrastructure for the community. This year, we'll build another greenhouse so that we can provide even more vegetables for ourselves. Everyone who lives here has paid for part of the land, which at the moment is more than 80 hectares, including a forest. It's pretty large property, and everyone owns a part of it. Yes, I think it's a good idea to organize ourselves as a cooperative, where everyone contributes and no single person owns it all. Instead, it's owned by the community.
Dieses kein Privateigentum ist, sondern gemeinschaftlich besitzt wird.
Two independent studies, one from the University of Kassel and the other from the Technical University of Berlin, have pointed out something extraordinary. The residents of Siebenlinden have a 73% smaller carbon footprint than the average German.
Es wurden verschiedene Felder darin untersucht.
There was some research done that showed that we are living more sustainably than the average German in the way our houses are constructed. This is because we only use natural materials that are produced without much effort. The production of the wood, clay, and straw that we use doesn't use a lot of energy, so a house can be built more economically. We use a high insulation standard for our houses and use wood from our own forest. We've reduced our energy use for building and living to about 80% of the average Germans. Another difference is in nutrition. Our food is mainly local and seasonal. Most of it is grown in our own gardens or in the surrounding area. Our consumption of animal products is very low. Meat consumption is one of the main contributors to global climate change because it uses so much energy and causes so much emission of greenhouse gases. In general, in Siebenlinden, the meat consumption is very low. When considering how to reduce our carbon footprint, the question was, what is the difference between a vegetarian diet and a vegan diet? It's very clear that eating a vegan diet, where you let go of all animal products and only consume plant-based foods, makes a tremendous difference. It's mainly because so much methane is made by more than 1.5 billion cows on this earth. If the number of cows is reduced, the methane that they produce will also be reduced. So we see that the kind of nutrition we have is an essential consideration in the energy that we use for living, and we want to live a lifestyle that is compatible with what the planet offers. Other factors in living a more sustainable lifestyle are things like sharing of community rooms and sharing of machines and appliances that are usually privately owned, like televisions and projectors for viewing movies. These kinds of things are all shared here. We only have community washing machines that are used pretty intensively. There's no rest for the washing machines here, so we buy the highest quality that use the least energy and water. We use things communally. For example, children's clothes are passed from one parent to another. Clothes are not thrown away here, but are put into a gift corner, and the people who like these clothes can take them and use them. Tools are devices that we also share. The whole concept of community works out in the sense that things are viewed to be well used instead of owned. So we use a lot less. Less energy, fewer goods, and we really use things until they have been used up.
Und Dinge, die angeschafft und hergestellt werden, auch wirklich zu nutzen, bevor sie ihre Lebenszeit hinter sich haben.
In unserer Gesellschaft gibt es keine gemeinschaftlichen Antworten.
In the world today, there are no communitarian answers. There's a lot of conflict and competition, and people don't listen to each other. There are such big problems in the world now. People are waking up to the reality that we live on one planet, but the ability to act as one voice is not there. We are trying to learn how to do this here in a small way, and we realize that we are learning a very valuable lesson. We have a big, beautiful open space that could contain a village of 300 people. Currently, we are 120. We already realize what strength and potential there is. A nice poem of Rainer Maria Rilke suggests that we see each other always in front of a huge horizon, and also love the vastness between ourselves and another. We have this vision of being a model society that allows for space between people and this huge horizon. What that means is that we don't quarrel about the dishwashing or aim for very perfect results, like some of the first kinds of communities. We treat each other with open hearts, like in a loving marriage or a close and friendly working relationship. And in doing this, we find that very practical solutions will appear. In every area, we are finding new solutions, like new decision-making models, new communication styles, new architecture, new ways to help the children learn. This trust and friendliness allows us to recognize new solutions in so many facets of our interaction. We now see that the time has come when society is moving toward us. You can see it in every area. We are a growing village where children are born, where the lives of all ages come together. People who do regional development for the government ask, what does a region look like when its communities support each other? How have you succeeded in reducing your energy consumption? Why do you have such a good energy balance? All these questions of the larger society are asked of us now.
Eure Energieversorgung, warum habt ihr so eine gute Energiebilanz? Also all die Fragen der Gesellschaft stellt die Gesellschaft jetzt an uns.
Hello. Test, okay. So this was one community out of 10 projects presented in the film. Yeah, we don't have so much time anymore, so yeah, we cannot. I think it's in the interest of you also to keep going with Q&A. And if you want, you can get the purchase. You can buy the film after the presentation down there at this desk. So I received some questions. Claire wrote it down for me. So I will quickly go over them now. Might be questions which many of you have. How these communities came together, how did they grouped or started? No? This depends. This depends from community to community. For example, Sieben Linden, which you just saw, there was just a group of friends, like-minded friends, and they created a vision together of an eco-village, and they purchased the land together, and then people started to join, and it grows and grows. People who share this vision of an eco-village, when they feel attracted to it and when they agree, they join in and become co-owner of this whole village. And have also the individual place, the neighborhood where they live with friends together, a family. However, it's also possible that, like Mataveniero, it was really an abandoned village, and just 3 people go there and start to live there and to create there. Most of the time we find that people, they started somewhere where there was nothing, and they just started to create something. But this doesn't need to be the case. You can also, when you already have something, whatever, you can start exactly there. Also, it depends on you. How do they make decisions? This also depends from project to project. In general, when the group is smaller, the project is smaller, it's usually done by consensus, that we go together in a group, maybe have every day a meeting, a few days a meeting, discuss some important things, and then decide together in agreement. And for this they also use certain communication tools which help that they can communicate in more truthful ways, so the conflict gets minimized or gets resolved quickly. For example, non-violent communication by Marshall Rosenberg, for example. Yeah, and when a community is already bigger, like in Zivilin, as you saw, they might organize themselves that when people are competent in a certain area, for example, somebody is competent in building, then some people, and they're accepted by the community that they take care of these issues, and so people don't need to, need to know every detail of everything, but they know that they're good people and they take care of this. So different groups, different competence groups. How do they make money? Before I mentioned already a bit. You saw also here now, for example, one has an organic shop. And they publish books, for example, Eurotopia, this book with this community directory. Actually in Siebenlinden, one neighborhood publishes this book, for example. But there are so many ways, and just in some areas, in some communities, and many, they just have normal jobs also, just normal jobs. But in general, people strive to do what they like to do. Yeah? Make a living with what you love to do, what you want to give to the world. What kind of diet do they have? This is also different. This depends. This depends on individuals. This depends on communities but in general, as you also saw, the meat consumption is low or is not there. Which of course makes also the self-sufficiency easier, and be able to have higher self-sufficiency in a shorter time. The question was asked, what's the self-sufficiency in terms of food and energy? At the beginning of each eco-village or eco-community, you see these short facts and details there. This is mentioned, this varies greatly. Some might only have self-sufficiency of 15% or 20%. Others, like Labori Noble or Krishna Valley, they have even like 90% plus. And yeah, energy is easier. Usually that they use, most of them use solar power. Siebenlinden, for example, they use solar power, but they also are connected to the grid. They are basically all over the year that they produce almost as much energy as they produce with their solar panels. The surplus they put into the net, into the grid, and when there's like not enough from their own solar panel, then it just get it from the grid. What kind of spiritual life do they have? Depends totally on the community. I recommend all of you to watch the film. I recommend you highly. Get a copy if you cannot afford a copy. Borrow the film from a friend. But check it out. I expected that you saw the film already. I was surprised. If you would have known that so many didn't see it, I maybe would have thought, how can I at least show 2 or 3 communities? But okay, hopefully you will see it. How do they go along with children? And do they have schools? Again, depends. Yes, some have schools, others not. In general, children are treated more respectful. They are seen as individuals who they're seen also as they're more respected. It's more respected. They're seen that they have the. It's not something that the children need to manipulate them so much, but they can evolve in a secure frame, which people take care of them, but they not receive this pressure, this pressure that to manipulate them into a certain direction, so that they lose their interest to learn, because every child his inner nature is learning. Everything is so interesting. I want to know everything. I also, as a child, I want to know everything. So many questions. I asked so many questions to my parents that they became angry that they couldn't answer my questions. So many children, they ask so many questions. They're so interested. They want to learn. However, in school, because of the school, they're forced to learn something. And then the problem starts that they start to associate learning is bad. Learning is not good. It's not fun. And so they lose this natural desire to learn. Unfortunately, so also the schools, how the schools usually are, is also more free. That the focus is that the child can focus on what is interesting for the child, who wants to learn. And of course, there are also some who do free schooling or unschooling, which is basically it's not a school. It's just the children can learn what they are interested, and some people, the parents. Kind of teacher, you can say, helps them, supports them. And of course the children learn also directly just by joining people also what they do. For example, in Russia, you saw this picture in this eco-village house. The children help also to build a house, for example. They want to help. And so they learn already very early how to build a house, for example. How to grow the food. And beside that, of course, everybody has his own mission, and some might be interested in physics, and other maybe in mathematics, and other in music. But the point is that one can follow this natural mission of one has. So this is what I see there, which they have more. Some of them. Some eco-villages. What's the better renewable energy? Okay. Well, I guess this just depends on the climate and the location. Here in Taiwan, certainly solar would be incredible. renewable source of energy. In Denmark, for example, it's wind energy. In New Zealand or in Iceland, it may be geothermal energy. You cannot say one is better or worse. It depends. What is the condition and then what is the condition? Depending on this, one or the other is better. Alright. Is any question from you?
First, I have to say it's a very interesting, it's a great talk, and the news really inspires us. But I have a little bit of question about the children in the eco village. Do they get curious about what the outer world looks like? Are they curious about what the outside world looks like? I mean, will they want to go out when they grow up?
Some people I met here, they go to a normal university because, for example, one guy I met in the eco village is very interested in music. He's a musician, and he studies this now at the university because it was really even more perfect. But he wants to live where he grew up. Actually, he grew up in this eco village. There might be other instances where the child when it's grown up decides also to leave and also does something by its own. This totally depends from situation to situation, and everything is possible. For example, I am a big believer in freedom. I myself have the experience that when something really, really interests you and your heart goes with it, you can achieve it. You can achieve it in not common ways, or just very free ways. You can find the teachers, you can find the person who can help you to learn what you want to learn. And this way, when you are like this, when you find your own creative ways, it's much more powerful and quicker to learn something also. For example, this was the first film I made, Transgender Woman, and I didn't have anything to do with filming before, but I knew I want to make a film, and so I just learned as good as I could how to do it, and it was a very quick time that I learned it. Of course, now I really mean I could make it better. It's not the most professional thing, but it's good enough. Quality is good enough to transmit to people, give them an idea, an insight into these projects. And I learned it so quick. Within a few months, I learned what others take probably years to learn, because I had this strong desire and I knew, wow, I want to make this. And so I found the people and took the help of friends who have experience and so on, and learned from them. I didn't need a university or anything. So we can take self-responsibility and take action. Maybe that's what I want. Thank you.
I just got a question about the eco-villages and especially Sieben Linden. It sounded like you paid almost like to get a ticket to live there. So does that mean that they do not own the property, or the property still belongs to Sieben Linden? And a second question to that: if they do not own the property, what happens to their kids? Do they inherit that ticket? And how does this go down generations?
Well, what I know is like a social cooperative is a tool, it's an organization, you can say, where you are a real part of it, a co-owner. So yes, they are a co-owner of the best through this model. And then you are when you participate, you put your money in, and you're a real co-owner of the land, and you have the right also to participate in your decision making. So you have your own plot of land then. Actually, this is a very good question which I never got, and so about the children, as far as I know, well, they're born there. Basically, the whole community agreed that children get free food. That means people don't need to pay for the food for children. Only adults pay a certain amount, and therefore they have all the food, which they can take it to their own house, or they can eat in the community house, etc. So now, but in my understanding, these children just will grow up, and then they will decide if they want to live there, or if they want to maybe found their own neighborhood, or if they want to move somewhere different. This depends.
But if they want to stay there, would that mean that they have to again pay to become part of that community?
Wow, that's a good question, and I don't know. I don't know. Could be, but could not be. I don't know. Yeah. But good question. I will find it out.
When you were there, have you observed any interactions, the community and with the outer world, with the country, except they sell the organic foods or organic products to them? And such as Siebenlinden is so big, and they look like they have a very structured community. Does the government ever interfere, or the government just let them be there?
But usually the government just let them be. And the interaction with the outside world is from Siebenlinden and also from other eco projects is even wished, so that they want to share the experience, the insights with the outer world. So maybe the biggest exchange happens when they, for example, offer workshops in Strawberry building. They build a new house, and then you can come there as a volunteer and help, and can actually learn and get to know their lifestyle. They have different things, or they have. I was there at the summer workshop, which is like a 1 week or 10 days, like almost a festival where they offer many different workshops. You stay there, you camp there, and you see how they live, and send them you learn something. So this is mostly the close, the deeper interaction of how people can interact with them, how to interact with people. Other than that, they also, for example, in Siebenlinden, one man is a doctor in a hospital, so he drives out from Monday to Friday, and he's just in normal contact with people. So are others. Yeah.
If there is a crime, does the cop come to the village?
A crime? Who comes there?
The
Police?
They come.
Yeah, in my awareness, in my knowledge, there's no crime, but because it's also very clearly like people get to know each other first. Everybody agrees to a person and it comes. Also, the energy is so good and joyful that it's difficult to feel like committing crime. But if that happens, of course, it's necessary. Of course, we should. I would just call the police. They are part of Germany, so they still pay their tax. They're part of society. Just that they try very honestly to make a real difference. You know? As good as they can, but they're part of society.
因为时间的关系，所以如果大家还有任何问题的话，欢迎大家到梧桐基金会的脸书上面留言，那我们会把问题再转给 Stefan， 再请他来跟大家回答。那我们今天非常谢谢 Stefan 到我们，谢谢大家。